Ka! You silly doggy.
Easy, easy. Nice and slow.
Purses, belts, bags, leather straps.
World to help you out.
Oh.
Is rotten. Hear what Master Jan
Hear, mutt.
Priests wallow in gold, while their falsehoods and indulgences condemn all Christendom to eternal torture. Can that be right? Salvation
Aye,
cannot be
come here.
But what do they say?
Aye,
And you
come
still
here.
forgive. Have you stolen? Hey, have you killed? Hey, are you the devil?
All the girls do that. There must be something else. And I only wear a light blouse when I'm working. It always seems to get wet when I'm washing them, and then it's like I've got nothing on at all. And then I look all downcast and say I'm going to get into trouble for being all wet. I knew it would be something like that. How can I help you, sir?
I need a bath.
Certainly. My baths are at your service.
I'd like to get to know one of your pretty bathmates.
Don't worry. Once my girls get their hands on you, you'll forget all your sorrows. At least for a little while.
I can't wait.
Come and take a swig, sweetheart.
Excellent. Pay up, and we can get started.
I'll gladly pay you.
Excellent. You'll find exactly what you're looking for in my baths.
You don't see stamina like that every day. See you next time, warrior. Christ! Pardon me!
Look what I have for you.
But your father's still alive, isn't he?
Aye, but he drools all over himself. And he gets this feeling that his time's nearly up.
Does he get it often?
Nearly all the time. And he's always threatening to leave everything to the church if I don't go and see him.
Aye. Once old folks start getting soft in the head, it's bad news.
Exactly. Let me tell you, I'd rather die poor but young than to go through that.
Take care, friend.
God be with you.
God in heaven.
Righteous people of Kuttenberg, don't waste your precious time on useless pursuits.
My respect.
And come to learn the art of swordsmanship.
Spare me Protect your innocence! Run to the nunnery!
Glad to see you again.
You have the gall to show me your face again? I'll call the guards.
Hold your horses. I'll come in peace. Actually, I have a little offer for you.
You've come to blackmail me again?
Call it what you like. I need to get into the City Council Assembly, and I reckon you can help me.
The assembly? The one King Sigismund is supposed to attend in person?
Surely you wouldn't deny me a chance to meet the king?
Don't try that on me. This is connected with Ruthard, isn't it? And tell the truth.
That's none of your concern.
Oh, really? Then about face and go back where you came from.
Have you forgotten I have you over a barrel? If you want to keep your position and your head on your shoulders, you better shape up.
All right, all right. Maybe we can make a deal. If I get you into the council, you'll behave appropriately and you won't betray yourself, or especially me. And that will be the end of our business together.
And how about a few groschen to seal our fruitful relationship?
Are you trying to annoy me? You might have dug up some dirt on me, but I have connections. One word, and you won't live to see the dawn. I'll get you into the assembly. But that finishes things between us. Understand?
Oh. All right.
You can get into the council assembly relatively easily. My cook's son will be serving there. He's roughly around your age. Maybe he can be persuaded to let you stand in for him. Although, not everyone would want to give up an opportunity to serve the King of Hungary.
Who's this boy?
Franta's his name. Franta Cooldown. He's an idler and a boozer, but he's proved his worth as a waiter. Which reminds me, you'll need his letter of permission to serve in the council. Otherwise, you won't be let inside.
What will I need to work as a waiter there?
Fast feet and good manners. And the livery of a royal waiter.
Excuse me?
Do you think you can serve the king in a torn shirt and muddy hose?
Well, no. But I never heard about any livery before.
Our usual waiter had a brand new livery made specially for meeting the king. Don't even show up there without it.
Where can I find the cook's boy?
He's supposed to pick up his new clothes at the market today, from Master Tailor Schneider. You'll almost certainly run into him there. That is, if he's up and about after his boozing bout. I swear that fellow practically lives at that Tin Hen.
At the what?
That German alehouse, the Iron Eagle. That is Zum Eisernen Adler.
What would work on him? How can I persuade him to give me his job?
Would you like me to give you a letter for him? I told you how to get to the assembly. Now do your part.
I'll be going then. See you at the council.
Just make sure we both come out of it alive.
I'm sorry.
They had two collections just like it already, and there are still holes in the walls.
Don't be shy. Come closer and take a look. Won't you come here?
Doors closing! Pistol over the foot gets right.
and at your service.
Word about the price.
Well, I suppose we can try. Aye, you'll convince me with that price. I'm glad you found what you were looking for, sir.
Bloated again.
Welcome, sir. I was just about... How can I help you, sir?
What do you have for sale?
Thank you. And come again, sir.
Why the long face?
Oh, I've just got this nasty feeling.
I'd like to do something about that price.
Das könnte vielleicht gehen. Why? You'll convince me with that price? Danke. Das war ein gutes Geschäft, mein Herr.
I'll be closing soon, John.
Good day.
Fine wares.
Vegetables, horseradish, delicious horseradish. Come and get some wonderful horseradish.
Furs, ornate
Well,
I don't have them. Sorry.
what? Are you telling me you didn't get the job done? I paid you so much up front. You could buy a cart and a pair of
And
horses.
so does half the
And you
town.
tell me you don't have the
That
goods?
goes for Councilman
Someone
Nars
stole
as
them.
well.
Right here from my trunk.
He's the
I
one
don't know how it
sending them.
happened.
What are you talking about?
If you don't give me something right away that I can wear to that banquet, I'll turn your place
The old man
into a
is
broken
really
woodshed and your face into a flatbread.
So we made it
Understand?
with Dirk's
I might
down.
have something here.
Christ.
Nothing very ostentatious, but
Didn't
it should
Dirk
be all
used to
right.
come to your place a lot
Naturally,
too?
I'll return the difference in price.
And he still
I
does.
should think so.
But at least I have time
Well, it'll have
play
to
dumb.
do.
Feel like rolling a few tonight?
Greetings. What do you need?
You must be Franta Cooldown.
I am. And who might you be?
I'm Henry. I heard you're supposed to serve at the City Council Assembly.
I am. What's it to you?
Supposing I took the job on for you. You can put your feet up, fill your belly, and I'll do all the work for you.
Look here. It's not like I'm all that keen on it, but it's well paid. Apart from that, it's a bit of a pain in the arse. Them councillors stuffing their faces and guzzling wine, while I run around like a bugger with pitchers so they don't run dry. Why would you want to stick your nose in there?
Broadcloth, beautiful colours, striped fabrics.
I just have to get in there, understand? I have an important message for the king about a plot against him.
But why would you want to get to him as a waiter?
But it could be that someone from the council is mixed up in it, so I have to be incognito. See?
I see. All right, then. To begin with, you'll need confirmation that you've worked as a waiter at the council and you're capable of serving even His Majesty. Look here. Do you have any idea what's expected of you? Can you tell different wines apart and that?
Of course. Who do you take me for?
All right. No need to get upset. Show the confirmation to the head butler. Tell him I sent you and think up some good excuse. Clear?
That makes sense.
And you'll need a waiter's livery. I had a brand new one made. And that idiot Schneider let it get stolen right from under his nose. It ain't my problem no more, so sort it out somehow.
Thanks. I won't disgrace you, I promise.
You better not.
About the job of waiter at the council assembly.
Linen canvas, the softest linen canvas. Come and buy the finest canvas.
Try and look on it as an investment in the future.
What are you blabbering about?
If you forget about the payment, I promise I'll do a great job. If anyone asks, I'll say the great Franta Cooldown taught me. And then people will be jostling to hire you.
And what if I insist that you pay?
Oh, I might accidentally spill wine on His Majesty's shoes.
If that's how you want it. But if I hear a single complaint against my name, I'll find you and deal with you. Got it?
Absolutely.
Only I seem to have misplaced the confirmation that I'm qualified to serve His Majesty. But maybe the waiter's livery will be enough. Here it is. I look like a prick in it. Hopefully it'll sit better on you. The main thing is, don't lose it before the assembly or get it covered in shit.
Thanks. I won't disgrace you, I promise.
You better not. God be with you, good sir.
Die, broadcloth! Beautiful colours! Striped fabrics!
Inexpensive but high quality. Jugs here, big and small.
The Lord be with you.
Greetings to you. A fine. Last chance. Fine wares.
Word about the price.
Well, I suppose we can try.
Is this enough?
We're nearly there. Just lower your price a bit more. Finally, a reasonable sum. Pleasure doing business. Take care.
Franta Cooldown sent me. I'm to stand in for him at the council assembly.
Franta's not coming? What's wrong with him?
He got poisoned. Probably from food. He's writhing in agony. By turns praying and cursing, spewing from both ends.
Oh, that's enough. All right. At least you're here.
We can't be without a waiter here, when the king himself will need waiting on.
So, let's have a look at you. Have you got Franta's certificate?
Sure. Here it is.
Everything's in order. Now, about your livery. You've got a waiter's cap, a tunic you have. Hose are good. It's a good thing you've got no steel on you. You need to be light on your feet to run around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what your duties are?
For an inexperienced greenhorn like you, it'll be a great responsibility.
Well, I'll happily listen to any advice. I wouldn't want to foul things up.
I should certainly hope not. Now listen. A good waiter should stand in a corner, look willing and ready, and not get in anyone's way.
In short, behave as if you're not there.
But when one of the gentlemen calls for wine, you run and pour it for him on the double.
You'll find the pitchers on a table by the door to the chapel. You take one and go to their table and pour for them. White Tokaib or red monastery wine.
White or red, by the door to the chapel. Got it.
But for Councillor Adam of Zarjitz, you must not pour at all. When he drinks, he disrupts and makes trouble. So the assembly has to be interrupted, or otherwise it never reaches an end. We can't allow that to happen in the presence of the king.
All right. Sir Adam of Zarjit stays dry.
And if the king himself wants wine, you pour for him with lowered eyes. Don't look at him.
And the most important thing?
To stay in the background and keep quiet until someone asks me something?
Correct. The councillors have a lot to discuss, and they certainly don't need any interruptions. And in general, a good waiter has to be invisible, blind, and deaf.
Oh? I thought I had to keep my ears pricked.
Well, yes, but only to what anyone wants from you. No excuses, and provide everything that anyone wants from you. Understood?
What if I make a mess of something, though?
Then I'll see to it that you won't get a job even mopping the floor in the hole in the wall. But I'm sure that's not going to happen. So, are you prepared?
I've got something I have to do.
Something more important than the assembly of the city council before the king? If you need to go for a piss or get something to eat, off you go. But quick! The king won't wait.
Here I am.
Let's have a look at you then. You've got a waiter's cap, a tunic you have. Hose are good. It's a good thing you've got no steel on you. You need to be light on your feet to run around tables. Everything as it should be. Glad to see it, lad. Do you know what you have to do?
I know everything I need to. I can do it.
Excellent. Put away your things here. It's easier to serve with a lighter load. You can wait in the cubbyhole for the servants.
The city reserves are in urgent need.
There are the pictures of wine.
Unversüchlich.
Hopefully I
Our
won't
current
splash anyone's shoes.
Waffenarsenal is a joke, and on top of that, the army was requisitioning from it. Should the town reserve have worse weapons than any Räuber in the domain?
Hey,
What
wait,
are
pour
you
me some
getting
Takai.
at, Eldris?
I'm saying that the bandits who freed Hinnick, the Dry Devil, used
I
that thing.
apologize.
That Hackenbücher. Hand cannon.
I apologise,
Can you
sir.
believe it?
Which wine?
Where did they get
Takai.
them?
That's the
You're
white.
the one who should know where they got them. Since you're a gunsmith.
What are you implying, Friedrich? All I'm saying is that they had them, Herrgott. It is eine Schande when outlaws have better weapons than the
I'm sorry.
city garrison.
I wasn't
And
paying
Herr
attention.
König surely knows this too.
Boy, are you deaf?
What is it, Eldridge?
Why?
You
White.
smell a deal?
What I smell is that your stubborn heads do not realize what Schwierigkeiten this is. The Dry Devil is running free. There are Raubritter everywhere in the
are you
region.
deaf or something?
We have the
Why?
army bearing
White.
down, and you want to defend yourselves with a few
you.
rusty halberds.
And who is it you want to fight, exactly? The merciful King Sigismund is providing us with protection, isn't he?
Der König and his army will not be here forever.
Shut up! The king can arrive at any moment. What if he heard you?
What then?
Waiter,
We're
get me
sitting
white.
atop the biggest silver heap in the kingdom, and we're supposed to defend it with brooms?
You're right, Eldris. But where
sorry,
can we
sir.
get the coin for better equipment?
Orders from above.
Can always
is
confiscate the
unbelievable.
property of the king's enemies, nicht wahr?
We are more than familiar with the jämmerlich state of our armory.
Tokai,
The king
and
is
a full
surely
cup.
aware of it as well. Maybe if he waived some of the taxes.
The king fears that this town will rise against him. He'll take the arming of
I
the city's
apologise,
militia
sir.
as a preparation
Which
for
one?
war.
Are you
So
colorblind?
you suggest we
White.
just wait with arms crossed for the Raubritter to wreak havoc all around?
We can always ask the king to bring order to the realm with his army.
But then the Dörfler will rise up.
I'm afraid I see no solution of the current
Sir?
situation. We shall wait and see what His Majesty
Well,
thinks about the
thank
matter.
the Lord.
Maybe we can change his mind. Vielleicht.
I'd like to report to the Honorable Council on the cleanliness of the city and the state of the public baths.
You mean baths or brothels?
Hey, waiter, pour me some monastery wine.
The same thing.
So, the
That's not a
cleanliness
good
of the
idea, sir.
city
This
is
is
not
unbelievable.
What it should be. The current
Excuse me.
baths in the city fall far short of covering all the citizens' needs.
You're right, Jerome. But a woman named Betty has showed up on Hopbrink and wants to repair the baths that used to be there.
She's a protege of Maresh. Her efforts are commendable, but I don't think she will succeed.
You there!
It takes a firm hand, not soft, feminine fingers.
A moment ago, you were complaining there weren't enough baths.
Is everything all right?
We support her.
But there's
Something like
nothing you
this
can
is
do
better
about it.
handled by...
I need something from you. There is an item in my study that I confiscated from a female thief. She thought she could wriggle out of it by telling me who the item belongs to.
And what is it?
A silver goblet. She sneaked into Sir Ulrich's house and stole it. No one's noticed the theft yet. But if Ulrich finds out, he'll turn the city upside down to find the culprit. Go and get it. And don't you make a mess there, understand?
A great many people die.
Where can I find this goblet?
Use your eyes and come right back with it, understood?
With the baths, unless the Lord wishes to punish the wickedness that's going on in there.
Keeping the city clean is important, but we don't have money to spare. Arguing about who is going to wash where and how is a waste of time.
It's only a waste of time because we're always arguing about the same thing.
Not at all. If you'd finally admit that it's a trifle, we wouldn't have to keep coming back
Nice.
to it.
A trifle?
Whose silver might this
Do
be?
you ever walk the streets here? Sewage. Rats, slop, and rubbish. The least we can do for the citizens is to provide them with a place to wash up.
What nonsense! Next, you'll want...
So, did you find it?
Free, too.
Why not? In Jerome,
I did, Master Bailiff. Here it is.
Not so loud. Show it here. That's it. And now go back to your job.
What of the king heard?
I got word that Rutard has pulled off another deed.
That's nothing unusual. That old weasel will never accept that the city isn't run his way. At least until His Majesty honors us with his visit. And as we know, Gunslin absolutely
Waiter,
hates
pour me
him.
red wine.
He can hate all he wants, as long as he does no damage. Ulrich, what have you got to say about it?
Me? Well, I'm not sure what you're implying.
I'm speaking about the Rutard incident.
Monastery wine.
You were there, weren't
Here.
you?
Oh, that. Just a small misunderstanding.
Well, thank the
We've
Lord.
sorted it out and everything's settled.
My ears must be deceiving me. Are you defending Rutard? Besides, if his men attacked yours, as I've heard, then we have a good reason to punish him.
Boy, what happened there?
I'd like some white.
Leave nothing out.
I don't like Rutard, true, but in this case it really was nothing.
Everyone in the city gossiped about it. I heard there were several dead.
Did you? That's grossly exaggerated.
Thank you,
I don't
waiter.
think Rutard will cause any trouble. He is sensible enough not to draw attention to himself while the king is here.
That's true. Because if we don't do something about him, the king himself will put an end to him, and soon.
Unless he puts an end to us first. God knows what he wants to tell us.
If nothing happened, there's no point in dwelling on
You
it.
there, lad.
Let's move on.
A cup of bread.
I'm sorry, Andreas,
you
but I
skimp on
wouldn't
me.
brush it off so quickly. Why do I have the feeling you're not telling us the whole truth, Ulrich?
Are you accusing me of lying?
Those are strong words, my friend. Nobody said anything like that, did they?
Then why
Well,
doesn't he
thank the
tell us
Lord.
what really happened,
I'm not keeping anything from you, but there's little truth to the rumors circulating around the town. Yes, Rutard and I had a little disagreement, but we ended it quickly because his daughter wanted to get involved. I didn't want to expose the girl to any unpleasant sights.
So Rutard is hiding behind his own daughter's skirts.
As if it wasn't enough that he sent his son to die defending the city.
All right. If you really don't have anything new to say, let's turn the page.
Things have got out of order in the town. Some adventurers decided to take the law into their own hands and restore the tradition of duels. It's not only barbaric, but also illegal. If we tolerate this, the rabble in the city will go wild and do whatever they want. I suspect the gentleman from the city's
Boy,
sword
I'd
fighting
like some
school
white.
brought this custom to us. That German, Menhard, is just hanging around the market looking for trouble.
Don't be ridiculous, Forsucker.
Sir?
You act like you've never been in a fight yourself. And to accuse
Don't hang around me.
Swordsmaster
Vanish,
without a
you hear
shred
me?
of proof. We're not some old fishwives in the marketplace.
So you will just leave it be?
Proven offences are punished by the bailiff. And that's that.
I'm sorry.
There are more
I
pressing
wasn't paying
matters.
attention.
More pressing
Refill,
than
sir.
the open
Do you think I come
contempt
to the
of the
council
whole
just
town
because of
garrison.
wine? Come
The
here.
guards are apparently settling accounts their own way. We'll soon be the laughing stock of the whole town.
What can I help you with, sir?
I left my gloves in the chapel. I took them off to pray, but then I rushed here and forgot to take them. I can't just get up and walk out now. But if you disappear for a little while...
And no one is left unscathed.
All right. I'll get them.
I knew I could count on you. While you're at it, count how many figures on the mural have wings.
But... why?
Because I'm bored. And because I told you. Get on with it.
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
That was easy enough. And he wanted me to count the winged figures.
So, let's see what you've got for me.
I found your gloves, sir.
Really? Let's see them. And did you count those winged figures?
I counted 16, sir.
And did you count all the monsters and animals?
Oh, I thought you meant only the angels.
Go back to serving wine, blockhead.
There is the eternal dispute over the cathedrals. The building of the church is dragging on, and in the meantime, they are calling diocesan pilgrimages to settlers.
Hey,
right
wait.
under our noses.
Pour me some monastery
Just
wine.
the village with the monastery. And they are going to mock a royal mining city. Why can't we build faster? Hire more craftsmen, start with night shifts.
Haven't you noticed there's a war going on? Are the experts from far off supposed to work in
About
the city
time.
under siege?
Besides, I get the feeling there's something other than the welfare of the city behind your complaints.
Oh, you do? Do you? And what would that be?
Like, for instance, that you'd like to
Boy,
have your own
I'd like some
altar
white.
there?
So what if I would?
Hold your horses, gentlemen. That space in the side nave is mine.
When hell freezes over, my friend, your place is at least 2 steps behind mine.
A swordsmith
Sir?
dares to insult me? Ha! I think
Good.
not.
Excuse me? You wanted to buy yourself an altar in the cathedral, just like you bought yourself a seat in this council.
How dare you? I acquired my seat for the services our guild provided and still provides to the crown.
Well, I hope you're
You
not
there,
supplying
lad,
equipment to
a
the
cup of
army.
bread.
If that's
Don't
all
you
they
skimp
have,
on me.
they would be defeated by that bunch of ne'er-do-wells from the alehouse on Obrink.
What ne'er-do-wells?
Those wrestlers of theirs, of course.
Sir?
People from the whole town go to watch them brawl.
Oh,
Thank
this
you,
is
waiter.
news to me.
Because it has all been sorted out. Not long ago, the guards raided and threw them all out.
Ah, yes, I had forgotten. What do we have to discuss next?
I'm telling you, something is being planned.
Oh, I doubt it. No one's gonna tackle Rootard.
Azonal Gyurcsák össze! A legjobb katonákat, és kelkinek útra!
You have nothing to fear. Not you.
Like this banner falls!
Come now, Father. Put a little life into your dying. Seen more cheerful priests at funerals.
I'd rather be at one than here. I hoped I'd never see this fortress again in my life.
Unpleasant memories?
You have no idea. I didn't part ways with my father on entirely good terms. 20 years ago.
And now you're 2 decades older and wiser. At your Ujit's parish, you spread the word of God to your flock, and you saved my neck and Henry's too. I'd say your father should be proud of you.
None of that matters a damn to him.
Who knows? Maybe that 20 years has changed a thing or two.
You know what? Let's drop the subject. Do you know any of the guests here?
Most of them I'm seeing for the first time in my life. It's a pretty varied company. We've had bandits, nobles, burghers, a priest, and even a rabbi coming together here. It's like the start of some joke.
Wait a moment. Rabbi, you say? The Kuttenberg rabbi?
Yeah. He came with a retinue. But for now, they're keeping mostly to themselves. Maybe you should go and welcome some of them. After all, this used to be your home. And you're a spiritual man too, so you should have something in common.
I wouldn't be too sure. But I suppose I can try. Who's that French fellow you brought here from Malashov?
The great Baron Brabant. Been everywhere, knows everything, and has the keys to half the kingdom. He's got more fairy tales than my old nanny.
Can he be trusted?
He's a blabbermouth, but a harmless one. Besides, he defended Kuttenberg, and you know how that went. If he were on Sigismund's side, he'd hardly have been locked up with me.
What do you plan to do now you're a free man again?
What do you think? Get drunk, woo one of the local wenches, and wake up in the morning with no hose and a head like a church bell.
Have you perchance forgotten we're supposed to be deciding the future of the kingdom here?
I'll leave that to the older and wiser. And duller.
How does it feel to breathe free air again?
What can I say? You can never truly appreciate freedom until someone locks you up for a while.
Or until you become a priest.
No fear of that in my case. I intend to enjoy life to the full. Wine, women, and song.
Dear me. I'd rather creep off into some corner with a full wineskin. But I suppose I'll have to introduce myself to the rest of the guests, eh?
Indeed you should. After all, you are one of the lords of Rabosh.
Oh, don't start with that. I'd like to steer clear of the old man as long as I can.
In that case, you should sound out Radzig and Hanush and find out what they're actually planning.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here. And yet...
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here. I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Gutenberg. And this is Samuel, my aide.
Who would rather not be here at all. Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other in this time of need. And why would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means to sustain them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend money to the lords?
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzik Copula?
You know each other. You're both around the same age.
That would be him. We did not get off to a very good start.
Or maybe you'll get to know each other better. He should be coming here later, by the way. For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since his parents were killed in Skalitz. He was supposed to become a blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait, a blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right. Did you know anyone there?
I knew of someone. A blacksmith by the name of Martin.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world. For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father, but he certainly didn't act like one. Ma raised me on her own.
And that was all for the best.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make hasty judgments. As far as I know, Martin didn't have any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry, and raised him as his own, on the orders of the Lord of Skalitz, Sir Radzik Copula, Henry's real father.
I don't care if he took care of 20 other Mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink. Will you have one too, Zayde?
For that, there will be more suitable times.
Good health.
L'chaim.
It's easy for him to rouse people to war.
Everything all right? You look a bit out of sorts.
I can't wait for it to end so we can get out of here.
I reckon you'd have to be pretty brave to come and mingle with the Kuttenberg lords.
Or pretty pissed off.
Or that.
We will leave as soon as we can. Anyway, all of these worthy gentlemen will be relieved when we are out of sight.
Would you tell me something about your community? I haven't found out much so far.
What can I tell you? It was never exactly glorious. And now especially, everyone is quaking that what is still left to us will be taken away.
Surely it won't be that bad.
There are many fools who would rather take out their gall on us and start to fight among themselves. In times of uncertainty, it is always the sons of Israel who are the first to be stricken.
Christ, what's the hold up? I'll have a jug of wine.
I'm glad you finally accepted my invitation. I almost lost all hope.
It's not that I didn't want it, but understand that my absence from the city council would have serious consequences.
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo. The last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off. How did you end up imprisoned in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Gothenburg, and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation. What unfortunate turn of events?
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
So, be so kind as to enlighten me.
When they broke through the defense, I ended up in captivity. It was only due to my acquaintances in a court that I escaped execution.
Oh. I thought it was Henry who saved your neck.
My neck was not at risk in Malashov. I may have still been a prisoner with my personal freedom restricted, but they never broke my spirit.
You say you're a poet? How about a verse or two to amuse us?
Jamais. Is poetry nothing but a fuss to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Where have you been on your travels? Have you seen the ocean?
But of course! I was born by the sea. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
Dear friends and allies, in these troublesome times, you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here, too, he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, he'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame? A few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare? Has any of you got men and money to spare.
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Or end with nothing?
I'm not going to die.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Well, that went just as expected. Good health.
And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here?
I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of...
That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that?
I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering.
Is that so?
Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you.
It depends what it's all about.
A little delicate diplomacy. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings?
That's a weak word.
And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that.
Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace.
We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army.
If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre.
Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield.
But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace.
And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction.
Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst?
More like in parallel, but without his knowledge. If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win.
Why are you doing all this anyway?
Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne.
You've got an interesting way of approaching things.
You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment.
I'll help you. What exactly should I do?
I'll give you 3 names. Botchek of Kunstadt, Hamann Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst.
What if it doesn't work?
I refuse to even consider that outcome, because it would mean slow but certain defeat for all of us.
Why me, of all people?
Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You know how to talk, and you're not just out for your own good. You and your friend Henry are similar in that respect. That's why I know I can count on you both. There aren't many like you two left.
Tell me a bit more about those people, so I know who I'm dealing with.
Certainly. Who do you want to start with?
Botchek of Kunststadt. I know the name, but I can't quite place him.
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game, because he doesn't like to take risks. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of oxen will hold him back.
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a Kuttenberg councillor?
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the city was taken. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guilds and the rich burghers. And that's why we need him.
Anna of Waldstein. The widow of that rich mine owner. What was his name?
Wenzel Bartosz. And I'm not surprised you forgot.
I was quite surprised to see her here. Assemblies like this are more of a...
A male affair? So far, Godwin, so far. Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary young widow. But don't trust appearances. She's got claws, she knows how to do her sums, and she certainly has no love lost for Sigismund.
And what use can she be to us? Apart from her late husband's money, of course.
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade. And she knows a thing or two about diplomacy. There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth thanks to her, and that it was thanks to her that he died, too.
I'll get on it then. Wish me luck.
I wish us both luck. Before the day is over, the die will be cast.
Success to our plans.
I'll tell you, nobody has the likes of these.
Not even Bocek?
Not even Bocek.
Whatever.
He's a great lord.
That's hard to believe.
Martin likes to exaggerate. He was talking about sorry nags even when they belong to someone else.
How are you getting on so far?
Everything is going so well. That's making me nervous.
Glad to hear it. I'm happy I wasn't wrong about you. Keep it up. We've still got a lot of work to do. Just don't overdo it with the wine. No one takes a walking wineskin seriously.
God be with you, my friend.
Take a look at that. A nightingale surrounded by hawks. Nightingales, and they all screeched like the devil.
Be careful with those groschen, my friend.
What is this about? Oh, nothing. An old grievance.
A little misunderstanding involving a big pile of counterfeit groschen.
How big a pile? Big enough for that bastard Istvan to raise a small army. He caused us a shitload of trouble.
I heard about that Hungarian possack. But he was dangerously clever, and as slippery as a bag of eels.
Even though Jobst is right, I'm in favor of decisive action. We can no longer afford to wait.
As if I didn't have enough on my plate already. Like my ward, who I can't leave unattended for a few days without him damn near getting executed.
Oh, go easy on him. It wasn't his fault. And you said you forgive him.
But for the last time. Those shenanigans of his have got to stop.
Ah, young Lord Capon is an adult now.
But he doesn't act like it, damn it.
So marry him off.
What?
Find him a wife. That'll straighten him out in no time.
Well, now that you mention it...
He'll sire a few brats, and he'll be as tame as a lamb. And happy.
An interesting idea, don't you think, Hanush? Maybe he really needs a firm woman's hand.
Don't you start too. Am I supposed to find him a bride? On top of everything?
No burger's daughter, but them merchants would bleed you dry before you could say dowry.
May I have a word with you, sir?
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation. Unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg nobles?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver spoons up their asses. And they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are our allies.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again. Let's hope he'll take better care of himself now.
He got a harsh lesson. But at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war? I mean a proper one, not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here. Let's rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectations. But, all going well, we may be able to establish some joint steps towards the future. As long as we proceed without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very unlikely to achieve any progress.
I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a talent for getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal rest. Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie is with child. No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir at his age.
As they say, doesn't matter who kneaded the dough, as long as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle. Praise the Lord!
I'm nearly all out to be muttered.
Burgers, patricians and usurers. They're without honor.
We're trying to forge an alliance against our common enemy.
They're trying to do one thing and one thing only. Line their pockets.
They remember well how Arabia fared in the last war.
They were on the wrong side. And wasn't it the lords of Kunstadt who got the most out of it?
You said it yourself. It was war back then, now we're allies.
Allies?
Aren't you more concerned about keeping the spoils of war, Sobotchek?
I beg your pardon?
Another war wouldn't suit you so well, would it?
Because of the likes of you and Hennick the Dry Devil.
Now you can't stand the sight of us. But we were good enough to do the dirty work for you.
Didn't you get paid? The rest of it isn't my problem, Jister.
I didn't come here to argue with another Kunstadt. Dry Devil is enough.
You two sound like an old married couple. You argue all the time that you couldn't live without each other. And he hasn't even greeted his own cousin yet. Tell me, what did Hennick ever do for his house?
He certainly doesn't sully its name by conspiring with the merchants. A knight ought to fight out of conviction, not for profit.
He who has nothing can lose nothing. Eh, Lord Trotsnov?
Just you wait. The likes of Rutard and Alder will certainly find some use for your silver.
To a good harvest!
You seem a bit out of sorts. Anything wrong?
Oh, these grand aristocratic assemblies are nothing for me. I'd be happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what my boys have to do next.
But then you'd miss all the grub and the booze, and the gossip.
Oh, and have you heard anything interesting here?
It seems Liechtenstein's looking for allies. For his own ends.
And how's he gonna do it? Didn't you see them all fighting tooth and nail here just a while ago?
Well, different approaches work with different people.
The only approach that'll work with Sigismund is open resistance. Maybe on the field of battle?
Let's hope young Lord Capon manages to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Ratai, he's gone from one pile of trouble to another.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God forbid. Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
A lot of people think the wealthy burghers will stick with Sigismund, whether out of fear or convenience.
No, that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city council under his thumb, no one will rock the boat.
Well, at least there's a few individuals here, like Rutard.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estates. That'd be enough to make a man mad. Not to mention that his son was killed in the siege of the city.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone comes along to put a flea in his ear. Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes, and now you're all jostling to win me over for him.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in order to get them, we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
How can I persuade you?
I need guarantees of security. I don't want to end up like Rutard.
Of course. Once it comes to protecting property, ideals go out the window.
You can talk, since you haven't got a pot to piss in yourself. If you were in my position, you'd think differently. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund?
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
He may be young, but he's got something between his ears. He's got battle experience. And when he gets the estate that's his by right, he'll be well secured for life.
If he gets it. Right now, Hanush lords over Rattay and seems quite happy with that state of affairs. On the other hand, the lords of Lipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
So, will you support our plan?
You're selling the skin of a boar that's still grunting. First, I want a confirmation that the wedding will take place as soon as possible.
And what if Lord Capon refuses?
I don't care what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support your plan.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom. Things have come to a pretty pass.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop dilly-dallying and go and tell Hanush.
I'd like a beer.
Have no fear.
I've got some good news and some bad news for you.
The bad news is there's hardly any females in this whole damned place. There's some old bat standing there with two young girls, but she watches over them like a mother hen. So at least tell me the good news.
You're going to get married.
Good one. Is she at least pretty?
I don't know. I've never seen her.
You're really a barrel of laughs, Godwin. Wait till Hanush hears this. Now, enough nonsense. Let's have a drink to your health and my freedom.
I'd better slow down, or I won't live to see the morning.
Ah, what can one expect from a man of the cloth?
Take a look at that. A nightingale surrounded by hawks.
Job's the nightingale. He looks more like a wet hen to me.
It's quite unusual to see him cornered like this.
I'll bet my last groschen he's setting the stage for his final performance. I hope there'll be no singing. I've had a few nightingales and they all screeched like the devil.
Be careful with those groschen, my friend.
What is this about?
Oh, nothing. An old grievance.
A little misunderstanding.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
I've gained us a powerful ally.
And who is it? I hope it's not one of those Kuttenberg stuffed guts.
On the contrary, it's Bocek, the Elder of Kunstadt and Podjebrad.
Kunstadt? By Christ, he's the last one I'd have expected to step up. How the hell did you do it?
Well, I explained to him how such an alliance could be mutually beneficial.
Mutually? What do you mean?
He's got a pretty serious personal interest in this... bond.
Stop beating around the bush and spit out what you promised him.
Lord Kunstadt has a niece, so... I arranged a betrothal for young Lord Capon, with your blessing if you agree.
Hans Capon is to marry Yitka of Kunstadt. Godwin, you conniving old bastard!
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it. So, young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Cheers!
Cheers to you, and to your parleying skills.
Exactly why we mustn't put...
Sir Bocek, your niece Yivka can start preparing for her wedding.
So Hanush agreed, without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstad.
Enough formality. We'll have a drink. What do you say?
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yitka and the unhappy Lord Kid.
Here's to a good bargain.
Hey! Where's that beer?
To your health, my friend!
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
Hit the nail on the head again, Mom. You're well informed.
I am rarely mistaken.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine. And beneficial deals.
Who did you learn from? In my experience, women usually learn other skills.
I acquired the basics from my husband. God rest his soul. And the rest I learnt quickly, as soon as others started sniffing around his estate. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has something that shouldn't get into the wrong hands.
Who's that?
Harman Alder. Now, if you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support your proposal.
Have you fallen out with the town councillor?
No. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives from the House of Bartosz are behind it all. They're disappointed that I dared outlive my husband, and the fact that I'm handling his estates Makes their hair stand on end.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch, what do they concern?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and certain undesirable parties.
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
I'm supposed to rob an ally.
Haman Alder was given the documents to deliver to the Council. He hasn't yet had a chance to look at them, so he won't even notice the difference.
And the papers I'm supposed to plant on Alder?
Just insignificant documents. If the incriminating ones disappeared without a trace, it would arouse suspicion.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder will surely have the papers in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer courtyard. Bring them to me, and put these there instead. But watch yourself. Odorim's groom has eyes everywhere.
Take a look at that.
What brings you here? What brings you here?
An old grievance.
A little misunderstanding.
I've got those papers from Alder for you.
Quiet! You don't have to announce it to everyone.
Milady, with all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected. Thanks for the help.
You're welcome. And now you're part of the bargain.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal with both words and money.
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain, Godwin.
I'd like to, but I'm afraid I've had more than my fill already. I wouldn't want to cause a scandal.
Wise. No matter, I shall drink a toast alone. But to your health.
Christ, what's the hold?
I'd like to check your horses out and see if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest.
I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to arrest my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Alder.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize, Father.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately. Speak up then. What are you doing here?
We'll talk later and in private. Right now we have more important things to attend to.
Don't try my patience.
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in wenches and booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
I wouldn't set foot here if I had a choice. Better to be a priest in some backwater than have a father like you.
How dare you?
You're as shit a father as I am a son. We've got nothing to blame each other for. And now let me speak to Older.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor. If you had any, you'd be...
That's enough!
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults. I challenge you to a duel.
We've never met, and we have no cause to be enemies. Take back your challenge, and we'll sort things out peacefully.
You've got no other option. You insulted Father's honor.
Gentlemen, surely there's no need for violence. I can have a word in private with Lord Odorin, the second, as he desires, and then...
Out of the question. This uncouth lout needs a lesson, and he's got plenty to learn from Christopher. By God's grace, I have at least one son I can be proud of.
You want satisfaction? You'll get nothing but shame. As always. Suit yourself, then. We'll fight. Come to the outer courtyard, but quietly. We don't have to put on a show for the crowd.
After you.
Well, that's that. Now, where were we?
Shouldn't we rather...
No, Christopher would sort it out, you'll see.
Make room for us. We'll just settle a very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back.
Yeah.
Cover your right side! You've got a gap there I could drive a cart through!
Wanker!
That was sneaky.
Sacre!
Left
You're
arm
fast.
lower! Just like impossible! Charge and no mercy! Stand firm! Otherwise the first strike will put you on your
You want to
arse.
try me?
Look in my eyes,
You're
not
fast.
at my sword!
Not bad for a priest.
Shit! Take that!
What's wrong with
Not
your
bad
legs?
for a priest. You're fast.
Swing with your whole arm, not
That will
just your
do.
wrist.
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that? Father always said you were a good-for-nothing boozer. But you could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I apologize for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. The sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him the same since I was a nipper. When I was 6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days until I was able to shoot my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder.
Aye. The outcome of this war depends on it.
That sounds very important, considering you and Alder are both pretty small players. After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me and tell me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Pa doesn't need to know about it.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
I'm still hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan. But maybe you were right. It was probably not the best idea to gather all the lords under one roof.
At other times, I would celebrate hearing you admit a mistake, Margrave. But if I were you, I wouldn't lose faith just yet. Sometimes all you need to do is send the right man to whisper the right words into the right ears.
You mean you managed to convince someone? Someone influential?
Not at all. I managed nothing. But I have found someone who could pull a thorn out of our side and get some influential people to join our cause.
And who is this secret envoy of yours? I'm still hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan. But maybe you were right. It was probably not the best idea.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the successful conclusion of the negotiations.
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstad will support our cause.
Both of them? Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army at our backs.
Yes! And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
Yes! The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal to King Wenceslas, and we stand with Lord Ruthard.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
My niece, Yitka, will take young Lord Capon as her husband.
Lords Kunstadt, Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas!
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wenceslas' side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylenders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the kingdom's protector? You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants! Chicken shits! Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
I apologize, sire. I'll do everything in my power to...
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else. The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become rather dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors...
Where are you going? Mind your own business.
You suffered their insolence for far too long.
Hey, waiter!
Let him go, right?
Surrender, you murderer!
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place. You suffered their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jews.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is time to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as if we were infirm. Boy, pour us a monastic wine.
Table there.
The monks had a good year. We have concerns. The Hungarians are rebelling. Our army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army instead of human mercenaries? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now than a few months ago. Thank you. It is a good year. If our father were still alive, he would have been astonished by the mess that a few years of Wenceslas reign brought us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing on every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace at least among themselves. Jobst does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty. Pour me some of that red, boy.
I think Jobst is just waiting for the right moment. He'll switch sides when it suits him.
Maybe. But first I'll have to conquer a few more cities, and get a couple more lords on my side. Then they take the threat of war seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Margaret. And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king.
Thank you, sire. You are too magnanimous.
Why? You did a good job. You can be proud of yourself.
To your health, your majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the consul was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Rabosch. Odorin won't give you any more trouble.
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Odorin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosch will be yours. After all, Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine, boy.
No, we shall have white. We have had enough of red.
White it is. Quickly! If Rabosch falls, others will follow.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
If need be, we could use it to raise this town hall too. And I have some suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
But to bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right. So then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's, and those of the future.
He's marrying the Lord of Perkstein.
Tempura mutantur, nos mutamur inimus. Chevalier d'Arezzo. I bet you made it all up anyway. I will just call you Bravo. Excuse-moi. Half of the French court knows me by that name. Well, you're not in France now. Here, nobody knows you. But that is about to change. The defense of Gutenberg was just beginning. Ah, quite a farcical beginning. Give me 100 knights in full armor, and I will clear my name. I will charge the enemy with cavalry, break through their lines, and capture Sigismund himself. And then you will wake up in a ditch somewhere with a mighty hangover. I am not drunk. At the French court, I drank many under the table. Even the notorious... Be quiet. You are as drunk as a fiddler. I am. Not. Oh putain. Baron Voku. Damn it. Your name is unpronounceable. Vauquelin Brabant. Chevalier d'Arezzo. I bet you made it all up anyway.
How'd you like a wine, Chevalier?
The art of winemaking has a long tradition in La Belle France. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. How many I have tasted. Even the French royal court took note of my refined taste. The king himself had wine delivered for his table according to my advice.
So you're not too keen on our stuff?
Comment dire? Let us say you still have much work ahead. If you try hard, you may have some decent wine to celebrate the second coming of Christ. Give me 100 knights in full armor.
When those two That's the one. What's old Kunstad doing with that front? Don't talk about Lady Anna like that in front of me. Yeah, well, don't you understand? Kunstad doesn't care enough about our plan to get his old arse into the saddle. That's saying something. We're off to a good start. I couldn't resist it either. The sausages were also delicious. And when those two girls came in by carrying that I remember someone saying something about whatever.
It is going to take time to raise an army. Until then, Sigismund's men can travel over us.
I couldn't resist you either. The sausages all.
Do you get it, Father?
Please, call me Rabbi, Lord Capon.
Oh, whatever. Fuck it.
And you should not curse either.
See? You talk exactly the same as our holier-than-thous.
What is bothering you, young man? You should rejoice that you are to be married.
But I didn't ask for a wife. I wanted to prove that I was worthy of the name of my house. And a reputation. Travel the world. And maybe later, one day...
Then you might be dead, sir. Think about the future. You need an heir.
But they could have at least asked me. What if she's some ugly monster?
Then she will be a rich monster. And God willing, the children will take after you.
Anyway, I need more wine to wash down my pain. Will you drink with me?
I shall not, son. Intemperance is against God's commandments.
Ha! Told you! You're the same as our priests. But, to your credit, you actually practice what you preach.
Sorry, have you got some time to spare?
From cleaning up this pigsty? Any time.
I've come to rescue you from work and responsibilities.
Really? Why don't you save that sweet talk and tell me what you want?
Well, it occurred to me we could maybe spend a little time together.
Of course. What else? Do you play dice?
You mean strip dice?
You strip if you like. Either way, you'll end up bare-assed and with an empty purse.
I'll give that a miss, thanks.
Not up to it? Eh? Look, if you want a bit of fun, go and see Dasha. She slept with half the fortress. And the whole village. I spent half the day scrubbing that floor.
Good day. What would you like?
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but are you busy?
What do you think? A fortress full of hungry mouths and half of them noble lords accustomed to all kinds of debauchery.
I haven't eaten so well in a long time. Lord Odoran was fortunate in his choice of cook.
He didn't have to choose me. My old ma spent her whole life in this kitchen, and my grandmother before her. God rest them both.
Wait, you're Kvieta's daughter, Madlenka.
It's been a long time since anyone has called me by that name. I was afraid you'd forgotten me.
Do you think I could ever forget you? Come on.
Ah, stop it. Even as a young lordling, you were bringing girls here from all over the county. I was just convenient for you, because the kitchen was just a few steps away.
Oh, come on. I also chased that dolt from the stables away from you. Or have you forgotten?
Cooper? How could I? When your father sent you away, I found out that dolt wasn't so bad. I ended up marrying him.
You haven't changed at all.
But I have. And you've changed too. You left a haughty young pup, and now you return...
An old dog.
Not at all. The years have been kind to you.
Why don't we go somewhere together? Somewhere private. And reminisce about the old days.
You really haven't changed at all. You ought go and have a drink and stop chasing girls. I mean, it's embarrassing at your age.
I've got some warm wood.
He'll shit himself and run back to Hungary.
And why would he do that?
Trust me when I can run straight.
You're wrong. In a battle, your life depends on your steed. Some easily split
My boots of fellows is no pony.
Gracious, you couldn't think.
May I interrupt you for a moment? You already did, didn't you?
What's the matter?
Everyone keeps saying that the prettiest girls in the whole county serve the Yoderans at Raborsh. I didn't believe it. But I can see there's some truth in it.
What are you blabbering about?
Haven't you had a little too much wine, perhaps?
Not at all. I could drink every man here under the table. Want me to show you?
No need. I believe you.
Stop bothering us and go pester someone else. Dasha isn't interested.
And we're not talking about...
May I interrupt you for a moment?
You already did, didn't you?
What's the matter?
Never mind.
You can hardly stand straight, Martin.
Bullocks! You're changing the subject, so you don't have to.
Having a good time?
It's a fucking bore. These old farts here have no idea what fun is.
Well, what are you missing? There's wine, food, even a few females worth the sin.
I'd rather have a game of dice. Or a good punch-up.
Don't you dare get into a fight with anyone. You know what a fuck-up that would be.
Aye, I forgot. Only the younger Lord of Rabors is allowed to give anyone here a pasting. And his own kin at that.
Leave it out. They forced my hand.
Well, they wouldn't have to force me. That young nitwit was asking for it anyways.
Well, let's have a game then. But for what?
For coin. What else?
Playing for coin's a bore. You got anything else to wager?
I might have something. But you'll have to bet at least 20 groschen against it.
And what might that be?
Let's keep it a surprise. You won't be sorry, though.
What the hell? It'll be fun at least.
You bet it will.
Greetings. Greetings.
Want to roll some dice?
Sure. How much will you wager?
I don't play for coin. I'd end up starving.
Well, you can stuff yourself enough here to last you a week. Suit yourself.
appreciate your friendship. But I'd rather run my own affairs.
I understand. Let's at least drink to your success.
And let's drink to the future of Lady Yitka. May her marriage to Lord Capon bring her happiness.
They're young. They'll have plenty of time to cultivate that happiness.
Well, the groom isn't looking too happy at the moment.
I would...
How come you're still here, sir? Weren't you supposed to travel with Sir Hanush? Raise an army, prepare a wedding feast and all that?
All hail Jobst. He sorted out things here nicely. He got my money for a start, and that's more than I wanted to give him. But you know how it goes. Give them a finger. I explained to the Margrave that I'm not going anywhere, and I sent my captain with him. He's still young and full of piss and vinegar. I'm too old and fond of my comfort.
Did you at least discuss with Hanush where the wedding will take place?
Nothing to discuss. It'll be at our castle Potsdam, of course. It's the pride of our family. We can fit in 3 times more people than here, and that still wouldn't be much.
Ah, but there are 2 castles in Rattay. I'd bet my right arm old Hanush will want to have the wedding there.
What? In Rattay? Well, I ought to look into that then.
But deal with him yourself, though. I won't be your gent's messenger anymore. Good evening, my esteemed lady. I haven't yet had the opportunity to make your acquaintance.
No matter. I know who you are. Although Martin hardly spoke of you, from what I heard, I could conjure up a pretty good picture.
No offense, ma'am. But whatever picture you paint of me, I have reason enough to believe it's mistaken.
Indeed. So the stories of how in your youth you used to drag a different chambermaid to your bed every night is nothing but slander?
And I also heard that you once fell drunk into the trench in front of the fortress, horse and all.
All right, I confess to that one. But nothing happened to either me or the horse.
And is it not true that one of your paramours made off with your late mother's jewelry?
We are all sinners, Mom. And besides, that was 20 years ago. A person can change a lot in that time.
Unquestionably. My husband is living proof of it. No more than I.
Would you kindly introduce your 2 companions?
This is Lady Christina, second wife of Lord Binic of Norstitz. She's standing in for him here today.
Nice to meet you, sir.
What's your opinion of the outcome of today's assembly?
That it's about time. Although at the onset it looked like everyone here would carry on arguing like fishwives at the market. But in the end, it seems the agreement arrived at will bear fruit.
How come your husband didn't come?
Because he's been rotting for nearly a year in the king's captivity.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mom. I pray that God shall return him to you soon.
I've been praying for it since the day I got word of his captivity. Perhaps worldly powers will come to our aid once the promised army turns up. One hopes.
It's been a pleasure, my lady.
And this here is Lady Helena of Dvorets, my niece and ward.
God be with you, sir.
Please excuse her. This is her first time at such a large gathering.
Are you well acquainted with our hosts?
Only a little. Sir Martin Oderin and his son have been to visit at Lady Matilda's on several occasions.
They come to me for advice on selecting horses. If it hadn't been for me, that mule he's bragging about to everyone here would have cost him twice as much.
You're fortunate, miss. Your aunt sets you a good example. And I'm sure she won't leave you to the mercy of the gentleman present.
Yes, Lady Matilda has always kept a close eye on me.
And I know what I'm doing. Don't think I'm not aware of how some fellows look at you.
It was a pleasure to meet you, Mom. Is your husband here too? I don't believe I've had the honor.
You won't find him here. He stayed at home in our fortress. He suffers from gout and doesn't like long journeys.
Or any journeys, for that matter. Even where the king goes on his own 2 feet, my husband has to be carried by 3 servants.
All his life he gorged himself on meat, pastries, and wine, and now he's paying for it.
It's been a pleasure, dear ladies.
The horse is immensely valuable.
It depends. Yes. Anyway, looking at him closely, I reckon he was a prophet.
And up like that force out over there.
I'm filled with grief.
You in need of something, my well-oiled friend?
I'd like to drink a toast with you to our joint success. As they say, all's well that ends well. So, to brighter tomorrows.
Touching.
Come now. What's become of your poetic soul?
I never had one.
Truly? Not even a little?
Well, maybe once. The older I get, the worse it is. Give me a few more years and I'll become a professional mourner.
See now. I'll gladly drink to that with you. Only, there's nothing to drink. We've run dry.
Fuck. I've got a tongue like a slice of weak old bread after all that gabbing.
Well, get something wet for us then.
His lordship is so unsteady on his legs, he can't make it as far as the keg.
To hell with that keg slop. Your father surely has something better stored away. I had my eye on him all evening. He had pictures brought from somewhere for himself and his closest friends, and left the rest of us to drink cheap dregs. Try and find one of those pictures for us, eh? I'm sure you can manage that.
You can bet on it. I've got a nose for booze.
I don't doubt it. Get sniffing quick.
He's calling out, begging to be eaten.
The rat'll be good, I hope.
Now there's a piece of horseflesh for you, Rootheart. Not like that nag of yours.
What the hell do you feed it with? It looks more like a damn bull.
Sir! Sir! There's some horsemen right out front of the fortress.
Ah, that's Peter of Pisac. He wouldn't come to the council, but he is coming happily to the celebration, you old fox.
Come on in, sir. There's wine aplenty.
Hey! Hey! Intruders! Enemies at the gates!
Seize the nobles! Kill the rest!
Keep it up!
Run for!
One step back! Stand your ground!
Send my greetings to the devil!
That's right! Drive those horses out!
Don't kill him! This
Come on!
Now you're...
Go!
You're fucking hell! Slice him up!
Show your stuff!
Go fuck yourself! Good, but he's still standing. There's more of them!
Do it!
Show what you're made of!
Underestimated him! That's it! Hey! No one's heard that
Wonder you're still standing. You can hardly stand, asshole. Come to me, someone! I'm like a sieve. The next blow will take you, Orsons.
That was a close shave.
A little too close. Fuck me.
Do my eyes deceive me?
Henry!
Godwin! How did you get... Damn. I can't tell you how happy I am to see you. You turned up at just the right moment.
Is everyone alright?
Well, some are, some aren't.
They captured Odorin, Kunstad and Rutard. And they took Alder and Kunrad of Vector away too.
They wanted to slay the rest like dogs.
What about my father? And Hanush?
They left with Yogs long before that. I'm sure they're all right, but not everyone was so lucky.
Where did they go? Back to Ratoi?
They've got to raise an army for us. And I hope they fucking hurry.
So we have a plan to counter Sigismund?
More of a promise than a plan. But, as you can see, our allies are getting scarce. We should lay low until Jobst gets back.
I'll gladly play dead for a while.
Be so kind. And don't speak of the dead.
What happened, Godwin? Who died?
Anna of Waldstein. She didn't stand a chance against those butchers. May she rest in peace. She was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. And they almost killed my brother.
But only almost. Good luck.
What do you mean, almost? What happened?
I got there in time to help him, fortunately. Christopher tried to defend our father, but nearly lost his life doing it. Nothing. Old grievances aside, Odorin is an ally, the same as Rutard and Botchek.
Oh, they all have their quirks. Cousin Botchick's a money-grabbing magpie. But I wouldn't give up on the fucker either.
We'll have to wait for the other side's move anyway. We don't even know where von Berghow took them.
I tried to come as soon as possible and warn you, but von Berghoff's people beat me here.
You knew he was coming.
He wanted Odorin. He probably had no idea they'd find most of Sigismund's enemies here in one place.
I bet he couldn't believe his fucking luck.
And Sigismund will be moving at a gallop. We have to be really careful now. One wrong move, he'll hang the lords.
You want to give up now?
Nobody said anything about giving up. We'll treat the wounded, bury the dead, and get the hell out of here. Then we'll hide in the Devil's Den and wait for Jobst and his army.
If I survive the journey. Oh, God's teeth. That stupid nag nearly broke me in half.
And what am I supposed to do? Can I help somehow?
You've done enough, don't you think?
And I'm sure Liechtenstein can't wait to find out what was discussed at the city council.
How long do you want to hide from Sigismund?
Until my broken bones mend. Or I kick the bucket. Hard to say.
It brought me to Suchdal half dead too. 2-3 days, you'll be as good as new.
The king announced one more thing at the council. He asked the councillors to ransack the Jewish quarter. That is, he ordered it, more like.
Fuck! Liechtenstein's got his people there. They could reveal a lot.
The city rabbi is sitting upstairs in the hall. At least he's safe here.
They're our allies. We have to help them. What do you mean by we? Everyone here is lucky to be still breathing. I can just see them all jumping to their feet and rush to save their poor Jews.
Maybe Samuel will figure something out. He wanted to talk to you anyway.
He's here too?
Aye, escorting the rabbi. You should go and see them as soon as possible. And tell Liechtenstein too.
Anyway, we've got work to do. Godwin?
Give me a moment. I'll go and see Christopher first. Guard the walls until morning. If anyone shows up, I want to know about it. I'll be with Christopher.
Put enough arrows in him to knock down 3 lightning. What about your horse?
I don't know. I saw him bolting out the gate. Someone set his mane and tail on fire.
Maybe he survived. Maybe he'll come back.
Or maybe the crows are feasting on him already.
Poor animal. Handsome, young, sturdy.
Well, at least it was over quick. Though, he almost took Hinnek of Kunstadt.
Damn. That dry devil is as tough as old boots. If a horse fell on me, I wouldn't get up again.
They didn't even spare the animals, the butchers.
My Tempest lost his life too. They put enough arrows in him to knock down 3 lightning.
What about your horse?
I don't know. I saw him bolting out the gate. Someone set his mane and tail on fire. Already.
They didn't even spare the animals.
Good to see you both. Alive.
Oh, come on. You know, I've walked out of much worse scrapes laughing.
They could well have killed us all. If it hadn't been for you, Henry, von Berghoff could have caused a lot more harm.
Von Owlet's surprised even Sigismund with that. You should have seen the look on the king's face when he told him.
Well, thank God we all survived.
Well, not all of us. They killed Lady Anna of Volstein and many other nobles. It was slaughter.
And they captured our closest and most influential allies. Without them, we can hardly get the burghers on our side. We're stuck.
We'll figure out a way to help them.
But how? Our plans are ruined.
Get a grip. Whining doesn't help anyone.
You're right. When I drink too much wine, I get overwhelmed with self-pity. Nevertheless, I have to admit it can't get much worse.
Actually, it might. Very soon. At Sigismund's council, an order was given to ransack the Jewish quarter.
God's wounds! We need to get back to the city and warn them.
I'm going with you.
Out of the question. Do you want to end up imprisoned again? You'll be more useful if you stay here and help Shishka. Henry, tell Samuel and the rabbi to get ready to travel. I'll try to get someone else to join.
Jesus.
What do you make of this Brabant fellow?
He's unquestionably a remarkable knight, that Vatalin. He rambles on a lot, though. My head nearly burst listening to him sometimes. Although it was better than being stuck there alone. Otherwise, he seems to me like a bold and worldly gentleman, if a little obsessed with wealth.
I honestly can't stand him. He's as full of tales as an old fishwife, and half of them sound very unlikely indeed.
No one's perfect. As for his constant chatter, you have to learn how to shut him up, and ideally not get locked up in one room with him. On the other hand, when Sigismund invaded, he could have easily just stepped aside and kept his nose out of it, and he'd still be sitting pretty in Miskovitz. Instead, he did the opposite, and defended the town. Give him a chance to prove himself. You'll see for yourself.
I'll believe it when I see it. What happened when von Berghoff hauled you off after the Nabokov battle?
It was a dreadful journey. Jesus, don't even remind me. It was a bit better in Malashov. Apart from being locked up, of course.
Did anything happen along the way?
No, but it took ages to get to Malashov. 4 or 5 days in that god-awful cart. I was traveling with von Owlet's minions. They hauled me in one of the wagons. They treated my wounds a bit, but I was still in a really bad way. After that battle and all.
What did they do with you in Malashov?
Nothing much, actually. They took care of my wounds, and then stuck me in a room with Brabant. But they treated me decently, as befits a noble. Von Berghoff came asking questions a couple of times, but that was about it. Only I almost went mad from being cramped in that damned room. It's a good thing you got me out of there.
What was the problem with the room?
That I couldn't get out of there. You saw yourself when you came for me, didn't you? It's just that since Nabokov, when they shot the tower right down on my head and I was stuck there. Well, since then, I don't feel well in cramped spaces. Actually, I never did. I always preferred to be outdoors. But since Nabokov, it's worse than ever. I had a feeling the roof would fall on my head again and I'd be buried alive.
They didn't let you out at all? But you were in that room for ages.
No. They let us walk around the fortress a bit. We even went out for a ride twice, but they watched us like hawks. Not a chance of escape. But most of the time we were in that room. Like I say, I'm really glad you got me out of that hole.
I understand. It's a bit awkward for you that the nobility lives in castles.
That's a fact. Once I get my hands on my estates, I'll build a new castle that only has huge rooms and lots of spacious courtyards. And above all, no secret passages.
Great. I'm really looking forward to this new castle of yours.
You can be the castellan or something. Don't worry, I won't forget you. I'll even have a forge built so you feel right at home.
What did von Berghoff want from you?
Just the usual courtesies. The captivity of nobles has to observe certain formalities, you know? It's not like they could just throw you in some hole. They behaved fairly respectfully, but of course he was fishing for information. About Radzig and Hanush and especially Jobst. What they're planning, how many men they have on the field, who else they're negotiating with and that.
And what did you tell him?
Nothing that he didn't already know. I played as dumb as the village idiot. I only told him they sent us with that message and discussed the rest when we were gone.
And did he swallow it?
I think he suspected I was bluffing a bit. And then he tried to loosen my tongue by letting me go hungry for a while. But he soon gave up when he saw he was getting nothing more from me.
My word. Nice work keeping him at bay. But the main thing is, you're alive and kicking. Back with us.
Indeed.
That dry devil is as tough as old boots.
Yes. The best thing we can do.
Why do they call you the Dry Devil, anyway?
Why do they call you fuckhead?
But they don't call...
All right, I was only joking. I don't even know how I got the nickname. I suppose it could have something to do with all the killing and my natural beauty. It's certainly catchier than His Grace Sir Hinnek the First of Kunstad and Yashpitz. That name wouldn't scare a fucking coward. But say it Dry Devil, and everybody just shits themselves.
How do you know Kubyanka?
He saved my arse back at Neuhaus. We only made it out thanks to him. I thought we were fucked. But then, Kubyanka appeared, dragging a ladder, asking how much we would pay for it.
What did he get for it?
First thing he got was a good fucking beating, because we thought he'd been dead for 2 days. But after we escaped, we made sure he didn't have to pay for drinks for a long time.
How long have you known Zizka?
It's been a while. He served with me during the Moravian-Margrave Wars.
So you were his commander, sir?
That's water under the bridge now. I'm just an old wanted robber baron whose neck you and Zizka just saved. I don't give a shit about the sirs anymore, you see?
Ah, all right then. What can you tell me about Zizka?
Well, based on what you two have been through, I'd say you should know him pretty well by now. When everything is fucked, people around you are dying and you're fighting for your very life. Only then can you really learn what a person is like.
Why did they want to hang you?
I reckon my face bothered them. More likely they're pissed off I'm not a hypocritical fucker like they are.
And that's a reason for execution?
Unlike the hypocrites in the League of Lords, I'm not ashamed of what I am.
I know they call you Dry Devil.
Aye. They call me a lot of things, laddie. And that's what rankles the Lords, that I'm getting rich at their expense. And that's some fucking fat loot they stole from the king.
So you're on the king's side?
I'm on the side of whoever pays me, lad. And I'll tell you one thing. I've never gone back on my word. My noble word is my oath. Unlike that of bastards like von Berger or von Rosenborg.
Have you been at war?
Aye. I fought in Moravia, and I'm still the hetman of the royal city of Znaim. You're just a yokel. So you hardly know what's been going on in the kingdom these last few years?
You're an experienced warrior. So teach me something.
Not now. Come back later.
Sir Vaculin, you've had an exciting life. Tell me some stories.
Bien sûr. Your interest is gratifying and quite understandable.
Where does the name Brabant come from?
That is simple. My compatriots call me that because I am originally from Brabant province. And, the name stuck. One day, I shall tell you about my place of birth, but I am sure you would long to hear about the conquest of Arezzo, yes? Or would you rather hear how I saved the King of France from certain death?
Arezzo sounds interesting.
And so it was. That is where I earned my knighthood from the great Enguerrand de Concy himself, the commander of our Naples campaign. Enguerrand arranged his forces for battle, and I was put in charge of one of the cavalry units. Out of nowhere, the enemy appeared on our unprotected flank, and Enguerrand set me to hold them back so our main force could regroup. But I saw a gap in the enemy's main phalanx. I sounded the charge and sped forwards.
Wasn't that rather risky?
Un chevalier français fears nothing.
I reckon King Sigismund would think otherwise after Constantinople.
That was completely different. Alors, I caught them by surprise. I hacked my way to their standard and broke through all the way to the enemy's reservoirs. My attack sowed confusions in the enemy's ranks that encouraged the overlords who raced to join me, scattering everything in their path. And that is how we won the famous victory at Arezzo. Seeing that the force that was supposed to protect them had been routed. The city then surrendered to us. No doubt you had no inkling at Maleshov what a knight you had the honor to meet. And of course my feats on the field of battle do not end there.
A bold maneuver.
Quite right. Courage is my middle name. Just as Monsieur Chapon says, Audantes fortuna juva. That day I was the bravest of them all and won the day.
Your feats are truly remarkable, Vakelin. I hope you'll bring us victory as well.
I shall do my utmost.
What other feats have you performed in battle?
Oh, many, mon ami. For one battle does not make a warrior. It would take a week to recount them all, so I will just tell you about my second greatest feat. On the Italian field, we faced John Hawkwood, a ruthless Englishman and a fearsome warrior. Surrounded, we were at his mercy. Night fell, and we knew he would attack at dawn, and that would be it. But just then, Providence put an idea in my mind.
Did you set some kind of trap?
You could say so. Unobserved, I mounted my horse and set off to find help. And, La Dame Chance was exceedingly kind to me that day. As I rode away, by chance, I stepped it off of our horses. Thinking we were trying to break through, les Anglais went to head them off. But while the English were occupied with my Marseille, our units managed to flee. I saved many men from certain death that night, and many lords from the disgrace of capture. Needless to say, I was generously rewarded for my valor.
That is indeed incredible. But you were just trying to flee, weren't you?
I wanted to bring reinforcements, but as I say, I merely follow Providence, and she guides my steps, from triumph to triumph, wherever I go. Stick close to me, Henri, and Providence will favor you too.
How did you save the King of France?
With Providence as my guide, mon ami. I came to the court from the field of battle to bring news of our victory, because, and remember this, the bearer of good news is always rewarded and cherished. But the king was in a bad mood and did not wish to be disturbed. Maybe I thought the news of our victory will dispel his ill humor.
How could you tell him if he didn't want to be disturbed?
Ha! I climbed up to his balcony and into his chambers to surprise him with the joyful tidings. And lo and behold, the king was writhing and gasping on the floor, overcome by one of his fits. Wasting not a moment, I dashed over to him and unblocked his throat, thus saving his life. In return, the king bestowed on me the title of Chanson, or cupbearer, and other generous gifts. And I then spent a while in his service at court. Unfortunately, though, even the king's favor does not last forever, and minor mistakes can come to overshadow good deeds.
What happened at court that led to you being out of favor?
Well, perhaps I shall tell you some other time. Would you not rather hear about the glorious duel between Le Gris and Carouge?
Tell me what happened at court that caused you to lose favor.
Ah, a major setback and a gross injustice, mon ami. It is an unhappy memory, because it was the first time that La Dame Chance abandoned me.
It's nothing to be ashamed of. We can all learn from our failures. And I bet even your failures make for great stories.
Oui, that is certainly true. Very well, then. I suffered a combination of misfortunes all at once. But bad luck in business and on a hunt were the worst of all.
What was the hunting incident?
We were out in the royal hunting grounds when I caught sight of a white stag. There had long been rumors about it, so imagine the prestige I would have gained by getting it. I set off after it, pierced its flank with arrows, and unleashed the hounds to finish it off. When I arrived, it turned out that my aunt had not killed a stag but the horse of a lady, a court favorite of the queen's. I fell out of her favor, and all the doors became closed to me.
Ah, you were damned unlucky. But that could have happened to anyone, couldn't it?
Quite right. I'm glad you are sensible enough to agree with me. A misfortune like that, which could indeed happen to anyone, would make lesser men roll with laughter. But the other lords were afraid I would outshine them, so they were waiting for a chance to get rid of me. And that chance came along, unfortunately.
Lockery and Cargouche. Sounds like a pair of jesters.
En aucun cas. Jacques Le Gris and Jean de Carouge. These two great knights were in a legal dispute over an estate. But above all, when de Carouge was on a campaign, Le Gris fornicated with his wife. She claimed that he had raped her, while he said he had seduced him. And because everyone swore to their own truth on the Bible, the matter had to be settled by combat. First, they jousted. Then they fought on foot with sword and axe. Le Gris thought victory was in his grasp, but de Carouge suddenly pounced on him, wrested him to the ground, and beat him so terribly that he knocked off his helmet and cuirass. Even so, Le Gris refused to admit his guilt, and de Carouge drove a dagger through his neck. And if you promise not to tell, I will let you into a secret about that dagger.
Tell me the secret. I promise I'll keep it to myself.
Bien. As I say, de Carouge killed Le Gris with a dagger. And I found that dagger in the mud after the duel. A blessed blade, an instrument of divine justice. The dagger that ended the last trial by combat France ever witnessed. An item of great value. So, I had several copies made and sold them to rich French noblemen. That is how I first came into wealth. And I used the coin to buy the horse and armor I needed to set off in pursuit of glory in battle.
Ha! That was a good idea. I'd never have thought of that.
You still have a lot to learn, mon ami. But you're young, you have plenty of time. Just keep your mind and eyes open, like I did. It was one of the greatest things I ever saw, and I have seen a lot. Believe me. Half of France came to watch, including the king himself, who then banned trial by combat in France forever. I later told the story to anyone who was interested. One of my listeners, a certain Froissart, wrote my icon down and became famous. I could have written it myself, of course, but I am happy to help others find success.
You were in business?
Of course. I come from Brabant province, home to the greatest entrepreneur of all. My birthplace gave me an unrivaled nose for coin and the reputation of a financial expert. I was nicknamed the Seer of Louvain, and also the End of Midas. That is, until I persuaded an important nobleman to invest a large sum in maritime trade with Africa. All the ships he bought sank in a tempest. He had to sell off part of his estates to pay off his creditors. Of course, he wrongly blamed me for everything and turned many influential courtiers against me. But my advice was sound. He was simply punished by God for fornicating with every wench from the Pyrenees to Brittany, bragging about it and thus bringing shame on his gentle wife. I told him as much, but some people never admit their mistakes and prefer to blame others.
A sea voyage from France to Africa? You must have known that was a massive risk.
A risk, perhaps. But think of the fortune to be made. A man must think big if he wants to achieve greatness, no?
Big ideas often lead to big trouble. Storms, pirates, sea monsters, uncharted waters. It was a disaster waiting to happen, Baron. You should have tried the Baltic trade route.
You are right. That would have been safer. But that is under Hanseatic control and there is too much competition. Africa, mon ami, that is the land of opportunity. The Arabs sell to the Portuguese via Ceuta, and they sell on to us. Just imagine selling further and trading directly with African kings, cutting out all of those middlemen. Remember this, because one day I will be proven right.
Tell me about Brabant province. Is it far from here?
Quite far. From Bohemia, you will go to Bamberg and then follow the river Main until it joins the Rhone. Then you sail down the Rhone until it reaches the sea. And there, between the river and La Flandre, you will find Brabant, with its wealthy cities. Anvers, Bruxelles, Louvain, and many others. But those three cities are the equal of Paris, Rome, or your Prague. Both the Dukes of Burgundy and the Imperial Princes would like to annex our land to theirs, because its flourishing trade has made it rich. But like everywhere else, you can only come into wealth by birth or by enterprise, which is how I did it.
How did you end up here?
Leaving the court with a modest sum, I launched to visit faraway lands. I traveled a lot, spending time in various countries, and having many great adventures. When I learned that l'Empereur Charles, that great friend of France, had built the magnificent city of Prague in Bohème, I had to see it.
So people in foreign countries speak highly of Prague?
Bien sûr! It was abroad that I heard of King Wenceslas' silver city and its reputed vast wealth. I bought the abandoned Miskowitz estates and shares in the Kuttenberg mines. And for a time I settled here to provide for myself and wait for King Wenceslas, whom I wished to serve. But even here fate did not let me be. When Sigismund brought his army to the city, I appointed myself to lead its defense. For how better to make King Wenceslas aware of me than by saving his beloved city? Victory was assured, but the burghers had other ideas. The city was handed over to the enemy, and I with it. Stripped of my possessions, I languished in captivity. Until fate again stepped in by sending you to Malishov.
Sir Vaclin, I'm surprised how well you speak our language. Where did you learn it?
Where do you think? Here, of course. Ce n'était même pas difficile. Perhaps I have already mentioned that I am guided by Providence? She endowed me with many talents. Mastery of language among them. I can communicate almost everywhere in a word, and learn every new tongue in a trice. I now speak French, German, Italian, Latin, Hungarian, and Czech. Some English, though. That is only a necessary evil.
Thanks for sharing your stories with me, Sir Vaclin. What do you think of our band of outcasts?
Well, I cannot say I expected to end up in this kind of company. I am more used to royal courts or at least wealthy burghers. But a man must accept his destiny as it comes.
What do you think of Zizka?
Le Chevalier Jan? Well, he's not doing badly for a minor nobleman, but I think he will never be accepted among the higher nobles and knights. That takes a lot more. Mark my words. I am a good judge of people.
I can't get Catherine out of my head. I don't understand her. I'm sure you have more experience of love than me. What do you make of her? Why is she with us?
Ah, you're right. I am a connoisseur of love like I am of wine. But for my taste, Mademoiselle Catherine is of somewhat aged vintage. Though, I have to admit she's full-bodied and fragrant.
That's not really what I meant. Why is a woman like her with us?
Là est la question. I had the feeling something terrible happened to her in the past.
So do I. But what?
I have no idea. But she's fond of you, if you ask me. Try asking her, and maybe something will come of it. L'amour.
Oh, come on.
I am a good judge of people, trust me. L'amour.
What do you think of Sir Hynek?
Ah, le diable sec. A capable chevalier, but I do not trust him. There is treachery in his eyes.
You think so?
My instinct rarely lets me down.
How do you get on with Janosch and Adder?
Oh, those two. Once in Kuttenberg, I also had a servant who pretended not to understand me and thought I did not understand him when he spoke German in my presence. But he was wrong. He is no longer my servant.
How do you get on with Sir Hans?
Oh, young Lord Chapon may be inexperienced and hot-headed at times, but he's the one of the few here who knows how to play chess. And I have a great respect for chess players. Needless to say, he has not managed to beat me yet. Godwin and Zizka can also play. And that devil in press clothing beat me. Merde.
Have you met Godwin?
The priest who is very skilled with a sword. Priests should not be such good swordsmen. That is what knights like me are for. In addition, he can play chess just as well as he wields a sword. And in drinking wine, he beats even the best Frenchmen. A man of talents. Or perhaps the devil is behind it.
What do you think of Kubienka?
A good warrior. But he has no morals and no manners, like all mercenaries.
Well, I don't think he cares much about that.
And that is just the problem. How can you trust a man who does not want to be a knight?
Tell me, how did the siege of Kuttenberg go?
Ah, mon ami, poorly, poorly. But what could I do? Stand down from leading the defense like a coward? After all, I had to live up to my reputation. And at the time, it did not look hopeless at all. I thought it would be enough to stall Sigismund for a while before the Allied army arrived. And that would not have been so difficult.
Only no army arrived.
Précisément. The hope for a swift end melted away, and the courage of the burghers along with it. I, who fought in 5 countries, was relieved of command, arrested, and handed over to Sigismund.
What other countries have you fought in?
In Italy, against the English, here of course, and I will tell you about the others another time. In the meantime, however, I can pass on some of my experience to you. After all, I am not getting any younger, so it is time to pass my wisdom on to future generations.
I'd like to learn.
Unfortunately, I cannot right now. Come later, mon ami.
The dead are scattered outside.
I knew it was going to be tough here, but I didn't expect...
smoke.
Otherwise,
No one knows where they took over.
If you got yourself killed, it wouldn't have helped him.
Preaching again. Aren't you... priest?
That's true. We need to get you into safety. You're the Lord of Warhorse now.
Lord of Ruins.
I'll leave that out. At least you survived. Do you think you can make it to Suchdol?
I hope so.
All right. Peter of Pisek is our ally. He'll surely let you stay there, at least until you get back on your feet.
Sam, I need to have a word with you.
Uh-huh. That makes 2 of us.
Just tell him. You may not get another chance.
I talked to Godwin. He said you know each other?
What did you talk about? Me?
We talked about your stepfather, Martin.
Why? Neither of you knew him.
It's true, I did not. But I tried many times. Remember how I stared at your sword when we first met? I recognized the Master's symbol engraved there. Well, the thing is, I am Martin's son.
What? Pa's son? How did...
Yes, his son. That is, his bastard son.
Are you sure? We look the same age, and Martin lived with me and Ma as long as I can remember.
When I was born, he was already long gone. Maybe we are not even a year apart.
And what does that make us then?
Nothing. Proof perhaps that both your god and mine have a sense of humor. You know, all my life, I thought if I did not give a shit about that man, it would be easier. But now that I know I will never see him, it troubles me that I did not get to know him.
I can tell you about him if you want. But now is not the right time. This is not the end. We have to go to Kuttenberg, now. Sigismund ordered confiscation of the property of people in the Jewish quarter.
The king has approved Xere.
He's no king to me. He's a fucking whoreson.
What's a Gezerah?
That is hard to explain.
Nonsense. It is as clear as day. Christians set out to kill our people. Innocent and often defenseless. Ransack their houses and divide the loot. And all that with the king's blessing.
This is what we were afraid of. But we did not expect Sigismund to be in such a hurry. We need to get back into the city and get the people out, quick, before it begins. Will you come with us, Henry? Every man counts.
I'll come. And Liechtenstein already knows about it too.
Very well. We should get going right away.
Let's not waste time.
Thank God you're all right. On the way here, I saw Sigismund horsemen and feared the worst.
Kubienka? What brings you here?
Well, I heard you were having some kind of a feast here, so I came to grab a bit of meat. And I see, instead of that, you have a massacre here.
Well, the real massacre is yet to come if we don't do something fast. We have to get to Kuttenberg. Can we borrow the wagon you arrived on?
But of course. I borrowed it too, if you know what I mean, but,
Could you stop blabbering already? We don't have the time.
Easy, Ingele. And you, sir, if you can, come with us and help us.
All right. But could you please tell me what the fuck is going on?
I'll explain to you on the way. Time is running out.
Are you coming too, Sir John?
Of course.
Do you think that's a good idea? No offense, sir, but you're no great warrior.
I'm not. But I'm not just going to sit here and wait, either.
All right, then. Let's go.
Perish. Can we go any faster?
Settle down, son. If you must keep your tongue busy, then use it to pray.
Would you tell me what the fuck is going on already?
Sigismund ordered an attack on the Jewish quarter. We need to get everyone out of there fast.
Bloody hell. And I just got ailed up so nicely today.
Oh, that is just great. My mother's life is in the hands of a drunkard.
Don't worry. We'll save your mother.
And everyone else too. Don't forget that.
You seem to care an awful lot about these people, sir.
You surprised? It's all my fault. They weren't helping me.
That droid of Sigismund, may his name be erased, would have found some other excuse to get rid of us.
Look, it's not that I don't feel sorry for you, but don't you think maybe we could make the horses go a little faster? At this pace, we won't make it there in a week.
Samuel, what was the story with your mother and Martin?
Do you really want to talk about this right now?
Well, it may be the last chance we get. We could both be dead in a while.
All right. But like I said, I never actually knew Martin. He once came to Kuttenberg and fell in love with my mother. But she is the daughter of a rabbi. Obviously, she could not marry a goy.
And tonight, you will see why.
If you want, Mame will surely tell you more. If we can get there in time. What was he like? I mean, Martin.
He was a good man.
Seriously. Whip those fucking horses.
All right. Schnell! Schnell!
What's the matter? Why are we stopping?
We will walk from here. We cannot drive right into those murderers' arms.
But how do we get into the town then?
We will go through Sheol.
There are many abandoned mine shafts under the town. One of them ends here.
Won't it collapse on our heads?
We'll find out soon enough.
Follow me.
What a blessing it is to have found the passageway. But it has been decided as punishment for our many sins.
Our sins? Ours? What the fuck did we do to these people? Halt! I heard something.
Not this way. Liechtenstein went another way.
We have to go this way. Hopefully we'll find it quickly. I left a stack of my papers in the tavern. And if they fall into Sigismund's hands, people in other towns will die too.
How can a few pieces of parchment be that important? And what do they contain, anyway?
Nothing very pleasant for the most part. Who hates who? Who could be blackmailed with what? Who's hiding where and why? In short, nothing I can afford to lose. Hopefully everything will be all right at the tavern. My stash is locked away, and Samuel's friends are guarding the place. But who knows what the situation is like in the streets now?
Are you afraid?
Me? Do you have any idea how many times I've had to run from a burning town or deal with a hired assassin?
More than once, I reckon.
A lot more, I can tell you. But I admit, I was afraid every single time. Damn it.
What's the matter?
The door leading up to the tavern is open. Samuel's men wouldn't have left it like this. Somebody else must have got in.
I think there's someone walking up there.
Go and check it out. If they took anything down here, they mustn't get out alive. I'll gather up my things in the meantime. I'll meet you outside the tavern.
Not a damn thing here. If we go back empty-handed, Eric will give us a bollocking again. Damn it. This don't look like no spy.
What do you want?
Do it!
Baruch Hashem, Henry. You're all right.
Sam, you're back already? How does it look outside?
A few of the cutthroats got in over the walls, but we dealt with them. But there are more outside the gate.
4 of them were here in the tavern, too.
Fortunately, they didn't take anything important. But your friends paid for it with their lives.
What?
I'm so sorry. If it's any consolation, Henry here has already taken care of those cutthroats.
But they didn't look like they just came to the tavern by chance. Eric must have sent them. What about your mother? Is she all right?
She is, thank God. I told her to get ready, and we would come for her right away.
I'm really sorry about your friends. We got here too late.
There was nothing you could do. Benavis Hamardes. This Eric is really pissing me off. I've never laid eyes on him, yet I cannot wait to wring his neck.
There'll be plenty of time for that later. We have to go now.
I'm sure Mama is waiting for us. We have to take her to the shul.
You go ahead. I'll lock the tavern and block the secret passageway so no one else can get in.
But sir, if any more of them come here,
I can take care of myself. Now go. God be with you.
Come on, Henry. Bring Ma!
What's the matter? Where's Sam?
Don't worry, ma'am. He sent me to take you to him.
Mein Gott! What happened to him?
Nothing. He's out on the street helping the wounded. Let's go now. We're out of time.
Wait! Who are you anyway?
My name is Henry. I'm, Do you remember Martin, the blacksmith?
Of course I do.
I'm his... son.
Was sagst du?
Sam told me that...
Watch out! More are coming! Run to the back, it might be safer there!
What's going on?
Sam, are you all right?
I'm fine, but we will talk when you are safe. Now run!
We have to get to the synagogue. But how?
Through the backyards. Follow me.
Swine! Nice hit! He's dead!
Watch out! They're shooting at us! From the ramparts! Get rid of them!
Much for his fucker!
They're gone. We have to keep going. Through the yards. That is Judith and Lev. Can you help them?
Please leave her alone, or...
What? Sprich seine Gebete, Arschloch!
Watch out! They're shooting at us! They're gone. We have to keep going. Through the yards. Ah! That is Judith and Lev. Can you help them? Watch out! They're shooting at us! From the ramparts! They're gone. We have to keep going. Through the yards.
Somebody help us!
That is Judith and Lev. Can you help them?
Oi, penis!
I don't know who you are, but I thank you.
We cannot get past the wagon. We have to go this way. Through the house.
Kurva! Die for that, you bastard! No, you don't!
Mummy, are you all right?
I'm fine. But what about you, mein Kind?
I'm still alive. We can talk later. Now, we have to go.
What the hell? What is it, fuckers? Rather slaughter women and the defenseless? Let's go! What's going on up there?
Go inside. Quick.
To the fucking task.
I've never been so glad to see you two.
In need of a helping hand, are you?
No, I just don't want to die here alone.
There they are!
Well, now we're really fucked.
Mustn't get inside! We have to hold them back! For how long, though? As long as we need to!
What's keeping you? There's more of us!
Pray to Jesus for mercy! Yeah! We can go home! That was coming! Nice. My greetings to the devil! Fucking horse! Now you're finished!
Come to me. That was a good hit, huh? Leave him alone!
Come on!
No,
do it! Do it!
Yeah, fuck her out! Smash his face in! Show what you're made of!
We'll rid this
place
of you!
What now?
Smash his face in! To hell with you, you... Good! True traitor! Right between the teeth! All the saints should see this, and you're soon be meeting them. That's what will be in your face. For our Lord! Give up! In the name of our Lord! You! Come on then! In the name of our Lord! You bastard! There, don't spare him! Once more and we can go home! Kill him! Kill him! What's keeping you? There's more of us! Stand ready!
Light him!
Come on, scum!
You give up! Strike!
Kind of
Get your eyes out! And now you're mine! Yeah! Nice hit!
Send my greetings from the shadow! You killed me!
Nice strike!
Bash him on the head!
Give me strength!
Help me! You wanted me badly!
Take your ass! Light him up! You're still standing! You can't stand up to this! Don't spare him! Bash him on the head! God will
Come to me somewhere! I'm like a simple!
That'll teach you!
Don't spare it!
Show what you're made of! Next one will be your turn!
Show yourself! You haven't a chance! Kill them! God will forgive you!
Get ready, your guts are coming out!
Ranzig's faster this...
Come on! Everyone's inside! Henry, come on!
Let's go!
God more me. Let's go. It's this way. Damn. That was a close shave. I reckon I should go to Samuel's mother and talk to her about Martin. I won't get another chance.
Even if that happens, it will be able to pull it around. Look at him. Yes, pull it will, but it will not.
Are you all right?
I'm fine, lad. I thank you for everything.
I know this might not be the best time, but do you think we could talk about Martin?
Right now? Well, all right then. How is Martin actually?
He died. It's only been a few months.
Oh,
Sigismund burned down my village. Pa went to help Ma. They both died there.
I am sorry to hear that, lad. But that is the Martin I knew. He always put others first. At least you survived. That would make Martin happy.
I'm sorry I don't have better news to give you.
Do not worry about it. I am just sad he died before he could meet Samuel.
Is everything all right?
Yes, do not worry. We were just talking about About Martin.
How did you meet Martin, if I may ask?
It was such a long time ago. He wanted to open a blacksmith shop in town, but there was no place among your people, so he tried his luck in our quarter.
And that's where he met you?
The rabbi gathered the good men so they could decide whether we wanted to have a goy blacksmith. And Martin wouldn't stop looking at me all night. Then it went Schlag auf Schlag.
So what happened that made Martin leave you?
My Martin would never leave me. My father found out we were seeing each other and did his best to drive him away. To marry a goy is isur deoraisa, forbidden. But Martin would not give in, and we kept seeing each other, until one day, I was ubore.
That means pregnant.
Yes. My father knew that if word got out, he would not be able to avoid the shame. So he did not miss a beat and took me out of town in secret. I did not even have time to tell Martin the news. I was gone for almost 4 years. In the meantime, my father told everyone that he had married me off. But my husband died. And he only let me come back when he was sure people had accepted it.
Did Martin not go looking for you when you suddenly disappeared?
People said he did go looking for me, even as far as Colin. But he did not find out anything at all.
If only he had gone all the way to Prague.
Even if he went to the very edge of the world, it would not have been enough. Father would have hidden me somewhere else.
And what about you? Did you ever find another man after that?
No. My father called me a widow, so I stayed a widow.
And he didn't try to find anyone else for you?
You know he did, but it never worked out. I made sure of that.
And did you ever go looking for Martin?
I asked around, but no one remembered anything. Or they chose not to. That was probably my father's doing too. And I could not just leave and go looking for him around the world. I had to take care of Samuel. That was the most important thing.
All right. That's about it.
Before you go, tell me, what was Martin like as a father?
Well, he was strict with me, but not too much. Especially in the forge, he worked me hard. I dream about him quite often. About that last day and what he said to me while we were forging a sword together. He said a life of adventure can be over before it begins. And that blacksmithing might be a dull job, but I keep my head on my neck.
He was absolutely right.
Well, look at me now.
You saved all our lives. Martin would be proud of you. He raised you well.
I'm sorry to keep you this long, but... well, I never thought I'd have a brother, even if not related by blood.
Well, I did not expect that either. And thank you, my almost brother. If it was not for you, I do not know how today would have ended. What are your plans now?
I'll go back to the Devil's Den. To Zizka and the others. We need to figure out what to do next.
I will see you there then. But first, I have to escort everyone to Colleen. I do not want anything to happen to them on the way.
Everything should be all right now.
Take care of yourselves, dear brother. I will see you this time tomorrow at the Devil's Den.
Have a safe journey.
Sei gesund.
We survived. For a while there, I thought we were gonna die.
Many have died, indeed. It is a hard trial to go through. So many lives lost, the shul in flames.
I'm so sorry. There was nothing more we could do.
You are right. It was too late. How happy I would be if we could get everyone out. But what is done is done.
What will you do now?
Now we must find help in some other community of believers. We will try our luck in Colleen. Many of us have relatives there.
Do you think you'll be pursued?
Well, the mercenaries might follow us, but hopefully it will not come to that. Chas v'sholem. We will split up into smaller groups, so we don't attract much attention until we get farther away from the town. Besides, who would chase us when we have nothing? We left everything behind in the town.
So the agreement with the lords in Warhorse no longer stands, eh?
What makes you think that? Do you not trust us?
No, I do. But you've lost everything. I don't think you'll be able to contribute to our army anymore.
It is true that the Gutenberg Kehile cannot pay for the army now, but others might, Be'ezras Hashem. Especially when they get word of what happened here.
Sarah told me you drove Martin the blacksmith out of town. Why would you do that?
I had my reasons.
But if you hadn't done it, he might still be alive.
Perhaps. But what about you? If he had not raised you, would you be here today helping us?
No. Probably not. Who knows what my mother would have done without him. God be with you, Rabbi.
Sei gesinnt, and please, watch over Samuel.
You managed to get the documents. What's next for you? Will you go to Yobst, or come with us to the Devil's Den?
I've been thinking about it, and the time for spying is over. There's no one to convince, no one to break, no one to blackmail.
So what then? You going home?
Not yet. Actually, I'll escort these people first. I feel responsible for what happened, and maybe I can at least make up for it a little bit.
But we still have a lot of work to do. We could surely use a spy master.
A spy master is of no use without his network. Only a few of my people are still here, and I wouldn't bet my life on any of them.
Well, that doesn't matter. Maybe you could be useful in other ways.
No, Henry, I played and I lost. Now it's up to the rest of you.
So the court spy and master schemer would rather be an armed escort to these poor souls now? I didn't expect you to be so bothered by conscience.
I may not have been in this world all that long, but I've done a lot of things already. Some good, some bad. But unfortunately, even the good ones can have bad consequences. So many people dead. Driven out of their homes and into poverty. All that, just because they helped me.
There's a war going on. People are dying.
But that doesn't mean we can't feel sorry for them.
All right. Have it your way. Have a safe journey, Sir John of Liechtenstein. God be with you.
And with you, Henry of Skalitz. Take care.
Look at it, all ablaze. Return, O Lord. How long shalt thou be wrathful? Have compassion with thy servants. Fill us with thy mercy.
Return, O Lord. How long shalt thou be wrathful?
Thank you, boy.
Have compassion for thy servants. Fill us with thy mercy.
I still hear it.
Rejoice and be glad all our days.
Where is Miriam? Where is she?
So many good people were left behind.
Thank you, Henry, for everything.
So, are you sober yet?
More than I would like. You know, Henry, I've been through a lot of battles, but this one was real shitty. Like defending a village that's under attack by other villages.
Well, I'd say one side was a bit more innocent than the other.
I suppose so, but still. Yesterday, this bunch of idiots would never dream of attacking anyone. And today, putting such bloody-mindedness into people's heads. Oh, it is all too easy.
You're probably right. What now? Are you going back to the Devil's Den?
Why do you ask? Do you want to come with me?
Not yet. I've still got work to do here.
Go on. I will wait here.
I wanted to ask you about the rebellious peasants.
Well, shall we meet with them?
Aye. I've changed my mind. We should join forces with them.
Great. Those fools use a secret password to recognize their own. The password is the foxes in the hell house. So, remember it.
How did you learn their secret password?
When Dry Devil's band broke up, I was looking for a company to join. Then this one time at a tavern, there was this scrawny, drunken loudmouth going on about the peasants' revolt, and shouting out the password for all to hear. Some old woman from Miskowitz slapped that lad so hard, his chin hit the table.
Right, so I'm supposed to look for a scrawny, drunken loudmouth?
We have plenty of those already. I reckon you ought to talk to the old crone. I have a feeling she might be the way to get to that. Try telling her the password and see what happens.
All right. I hope I won't get slapped too. All right. We can go to the Devil's Den.
Fantastic! The more people riding together, the merrier. That applies not only to roads, but also to wenches.
Well, let's just stick to the roads for now.